What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Strength Coach Rants. Today is going to be pretty quick because I'm legit just going to rant about a couple things that are going on right now.
It's all my head, now stuck in the void again.
All right, so this is going to be directed at football coaches and baseball coaches. It is January 15th. We are probably 4 to 5 weeks away from baseball season, and we are 9 months away from football season. But right now I'm losing kids in the gym who really need to be here because they have to go do conditioning with their team. I got a couple who are battling through it and they're showing up after they condition, and great for them, right? But I'm getting the crumbs. There's not much left because they've been running miles with their team, right? So first things first, these conditioning adaptations come on faster than any others. Legit. So baseball and football both are sports where the average play time is less than 5 seconds, right? So if we're running miles or we're running gassers or we're running 110s, we're absolutely doing it wrong, right? I'll go back to what I said before. These conditioning adaptations come on very fast. Football is preparing right now for the spring football game, right? All right. Granted, you don't want kids to get hurt, but we're like, 3.5, 4 months out from that? There's no need to condition right now. That nothing that you accomplish in 4 months worth of conditioning is going to give you any advantage in that game. What you need to be focusing on right now are strength, right? Because this is the longest stretch of time that you're going to have away from the game, and skills, right? So you can hone your skills, get better, go run routes, throw the ball, hit the bag, work on your skill set, and then get in the gym and work on your strength, do walkthroughs, run plays, do those things. But this conditioning is absolute insanity. On top of that, you've got some football coaches, a lot of football coaches in high school who run the training inside the gym. And I'm here to tell you, outside of very few exceptions, if you're on a high school football team and your football coach is running the weight room, you're getting worse. You're taking more out of the tank. You're not learning to do these things right. More than likely, there is entirely too much weight on the bar because it turns into a pissing contest, right, when it shouldn't. These things should be periodized and planned out, and there should be a progressive overload, and these kids should be working at various, intensities, like in a upward scale as time goes on so that they can get stronger. I have these kids and I ask them, hey, do you guys write anything down that you do in the gym? And no, right? So if you're training with your football coach, probably not the best environment. We had a kid about a mile and a half away from here, the high school that I went to, that I graduated from, had a kid fracture a vertebrae, break his back in the gym with the football coach just last spring. Football coaches have some football coaches may have a background in strength and conditioning, very few of them, but the vast majority of football coaches have no business working with these kids in the gym, none at all. So football, stop conditioning, let these kids go train. And I understand 100% that probably the vast majority of these kids cannot afford to go hire somebody like me. I get it. But not like something is better than nothing. That's not how this works. Doing something in the gym is not better than doing nothing in the gym. You're actively making them worse. There's this thing called transfer trainedness. So if they're lifting in bad positions on the field of play, in the gym, guess what's going to happen on the field of play? We're going to have some poor movement patterns. You're probably going to lead to some injuries. I'd be willing to bet you're probably going to hurt some kids in the gym. Like I said, that kid broke his back. Baseball is the second coach sport, whatever, that I'm going to talk to right now, and I'm rambling a bit. I'm not editing any of this. I'm just kind of flying off the handle here. Baseball is another one. Baseball is year-round now, just like every other sport. Even though all the data points to that being the worst possible thing, Division I coach is saying, I want kids that play multiple sports. And again, every piece of data that we have says specializing and playing year-round is the worst possible thing that you could do, both for your body and your skill set. We still do it, right? So I've got baseball players right now that I'm losing to conditioning. Sports, the season is 5 weeks out. Conditioning adaptations come very quickly. They don't take a lot of time, and it doesn't take that much effort to condition for baseball, right? What they need to be doing right now is getting stronger. This is the longest break that these kids have from the game now is like a month and a half, and it's like mid-November through the end of December, and that's only for some teams. A lot of these teams, they have like those mandatory optional practices where they're only optional, like if you want to get cut kind of thing, and these kids are practicing that whole time. So they get no time away from this sport. You got kids getting Tommy John in high school now. That's insanity. And then on top of that, they're all undersized. Every baseball player I have, with the like rare exception, is undersized, not nearly strong enough, and has a coach in their ear saying, guess what? You got to get stronger. You got to get stronger. You got to get stronger. Well, fucking when? When are they supposed to get stronger? That month and a half, right? That month and a half when they're detrained at the end of the season gets them to like where they should have been like 6 months ago, right? It doesn't, there's no way to build on that. So I get them for a month and a half, and then they go back to conditioning, and chances are lose just about everything that we did in that month and a half. And then I may get them at the end of the spring for like a month before summer baseball starts up, right? Summer baseball, they're going to be traveling all over the place. I had a kid, he trains here a lot more regularly now, but 2 summers ago, his parents called me. He was like, hey, our coach says he has to get bigger, and he has to get bigger, right? I was like, all right, well, let's, we've got a group he can hop into. He can do some private training, whatever it is. What's your schedule like? And emailed me the schedule. And over the course of, it was June into July into like the first week of August, this kid had 8 days that he could train. Right, so like riddle me how the hell we get better in 8 days spread out over 2.5 months. It's physically impossible. So these baseball coaches, these same guys telling these kids they got to get bigger, are pulling them away from any chance they had to be able to get bigger. It's pure insanity. And right now, the fact that you're focusing on conditioning when you're still 5 weeks out, it blows my mind, because conditioning adaptations come very fast, and they need to be more in lines with the need of your sport. These kids are running miles, they're doing Indian runs, they're doing all the hard stuff that doesn't actually make you any better, right? Just stuff that's hard for, I don't know if it's mental conditioning or whatever, which also the data says is absolute nonsense and makes athletes worse. So it's infuriating to work with these kids and see them work so hard, and then see all of that hard work get like pissed down the drain because we have baseball coaches that have no idea what they're doing, and they're allowed to condition now, so they're going to condition them. And it just, every kid in my gym that trains for the summer, got a bunch of kids that go off and play like major junior hockey, Division I, Division II, various sports. Every single one of them, when they get to their camps, they're like in the top 5% of conditioning, the top 5% of like speed, jumping, strength, all of that. And we don't do a lick of conditioning here. We do a little bit of sled work, some pushing and pulling on some active recovery days. And then right before they go, we start doing a little bit more sled work just to get them a little bit more conditioned. But these kids are out, doing some skill work on the ice or on the field, practicing here and there. But most of their time is spent getting stronger, and they're the top tier of conditioned athlete, because these conditioning adaptations, we don't need to do all this insane shit that we're doing to get more conditioned. You're putting these kids behind the 8 ball. It's a fucking ego thing for a lot of coaches, because they got to be in control, when in reality, dude, you should be deferring everything out, right? You're not going to teach them how to do Spanish. I mean, maybe if you're Spanish, you would. You're not going to teach them how to do calculus, right? But all of a sudden, I'm a strength and conditioning coach because I'm a sport coach, and that's not how it works. Most of us go to school for anywhere from 4 to 8 years. We sit for national board exams. We have decades of experience, thousands of hours coaching, thousands of athletes coached. It is not your sport. And just because, and here's where it gets really bad in baseball and football specifically, these coaches, what it turns into is, this is what we did, so this is what you're going to do. And that's like the most dangerous shit. It doesn't work. There's no like science data to support that any of that ever worked. Actually, we have a lot of data to suggest that it doesn't. The old typical conditionings of like 300s, 110s, gassers, running poles, all of that, they don't work. And we know they don't work, but these fucking coaches continue to do these stupid drills over and over and over again. And I don't understand it when these kids need to be spending time becoming stronger, getting a little bit bigger, getting faster. And you can't do that when you're conditioning, especially when you don't have to perform for baseball another 4.5, 5.5 weeks. We're looking at almost 6 weeks from now. And then football, hell, the spring football game, be conditioned enough not to get hurt. But outside of that, Jesus Christ, like, what are we doing? All right. Yeah, that's it. I'm just irritated because it sucks seeing these kids leave before they should when we're not really where we need to be. And the ones who are battling through it are just struggling right now because they're doing conditioning that's going to have no bearing on their play on the field of play, outside of possibly making them worse and taking more out of the tank than they have to give, given everything else that they're doing. So baseball coaches, football coaches, goes for every sport, hockey coaches, tennis coaches, basketball coaches, stop with this conditioning. Like, make your drills hard enough so that they get conditioned playing their actual sport. We don't need an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes of conditioning. It's not conducive to success. It takes too much out of the tank. It doesn't leave them with enough to get any better. And you're not even like accomplishing the task. It's just hard for the sake of being hard. And kids are thrown up and tired and sore, like crippled the next couple days because they're not used to doing any kind of conditioning like that. And they'll never have to do it again in their sport. So stop doing it. It's infuriating. I don't know who to talk to. Maybe somebody give Biden a call. Figure this out because it has to stop. These kids are not getting better, and they're going to end up getting hurt when you're trying to like keep them from getting hurt. It's wild, but that's what's happening. You need to get better, more mobile, more agile, stronger, more powerful, everything but more conditioned. In rant, hope everybody has a good rest of your week. We'll see you next week. I think we'll be back up with episodes every week, hopefully some interesting things. But I was really frustrated this week, and I just had to get that off my chest. Have a good week.